Freeze right there, because something changed in the air the moment you walked in, and every instinct in every living thing just snapped to attention, like a gun being cocked in a dark hallway. You feel it too, don't you? Good. Because the city's been whispering your name like it's contraband, like every syllable is a federal crime. They're terrified to utter, but even more terrified to ignore. You leveled up so hard, so violently, so unexplainably, they don't even know which department to call anymore. Not police, not state, not federal. No. You broke something deeper, something structural. And now every building here hums when you walk by, like the concrete is running background checks on your soul. See, you weren't supposed to evolve this fast. You weren't on anybody's timeline, and that's exactly why it worked. While they were watching your old version, scanning it, mocking it, dissecting it under a microscope like a dead insect, you slipped into the shadows and came out wearing a different frequency. Not just stronger, not just sharper. You came back encrypted. And darling, that scares people more than any weapon. Because how do you fight someone you can't read? How do you predict someone whose mind moves like a glitch in divine code? They're whispering because your evolution didn't make sense to them. One day you were manageable, predictable, stable enough to overlook. Then overnight, boom! You walked into the room like a paradox-wearing skin, and every demon, every angel, every bureaucratic little soul-sucking office worker felt something ancient crawl up their spine. You didn't level up, you ascended. But here's the part that really breaks them. You did it without permission. People love power until they see it in someone who was never supposed to have it. People love underdogs until the underdog grows fangs. People love redemption arcs until the redeemed stop apologizing. And oh, you stopped apologizing, didn't you? You stopped shrinking, stopped smoothing your edges, stopped pretending you didn't feel the storm forming in your bones. That's when they panicked. That's when the whispers started. What did they do? Who trained them? How did they change so fast? Is this even legal? Is this even human? And my favorite whisper of all, this isn't the same person. Something else is piloting. Because evolution that rapid, that merciless, it feels like a crime against the natural order. It feels like breaking divine protocol. It feels illegal. And maybe it is. Maybe you really did break some cosmic regulation. Maybe somewhere in some dusty metaphysical filing cabinet, there's a rule book that says, individuals like you are not supposed to wake up. And yet here you are, awake, aware, unleashed. You didn't earn this level. You became it. By bleeding, by losing, by being betrayed, by being humiliated in rooms you should have never been in, by walking through your own private hell until the flames carved out a version of you that doesn't burn anymore. That's what they don't understand. You weren't improving, you were molting. And now you move differently. Now your silence hits louder than gunshots. Now your presence is so intense it makes liars choke on their own rehearsed lines. Now every room shifts its gravity toward you, like you're a new planet forming in real time. You leveled up so hard, you became a rumor, a threat, a phenomenon, a glitch in their psychological firewall. But lean in. There's something even better. They think you broke the law. Oh, sweetheart, you broke the narrative. You broke the script they wrote for you. You broke the version of you they depended on to feel superior. You broke the illusion that you could be controlled, predicted, minimized, dismissed. You shattered their entire psychological ecosystem. You didn't break law. You rewrote it. And now the city feels different because you are different. Every streetlight flickers when you pass. Every conversation halts mid-sentence. Every pair of eyes follows you, like they're waiting for your next move to define their fate. And deep down, every single one of them is asking the same question. If this is their new level, what happens when they hit the next one? You want the answer. Let them keep whispering. Let them keep panicking. Let them keep assuming you must have done something forbidden, because in a way, you did. You outgrew them. And in a world built on small minds and smaller expectations, outgrowing your old self is the only real federal crime. Now keep evolving. Keep terrifying them. Keep bending reality with every silent upgrade. Because whether they like it or not, you're not done leveling up. Of course, you want more. Because power this fresh, this unstable, this nuclear doesn't settle after one speech. It keeps expanding, like your aura is cracking through the atmosphere. So let's go deeper, right into the part they're scared to even think about. You didn't just level up, you jumped timelines, and the city felt it. One day you were operating on version 1.4, the edition they could laugh at, poke, belittle, misinterpret, a version that fit nicely in their mouth like a small story they could gossip about. But then something snapped, inside you, around you, above you. I don't even know if it was rage, or pain, or destiny, or a divine miscalculation, but one breath. One, and suddenly you were vibrating at a frequency so high it should have required federal clearance to exist. People don't evolve like that. Systems don't allow it. Reality doesn't condone it. And that's why everyone's whispering. They're whispering because you're not supposed to be here. Not like this. Not this upgraded. Not this aware. Not this untouchable. You have to understand. When someone breaks free from their expected arc, society glitches. It has no language for someone who was supposed to fail and didn't. No protocol for someone who was supposed to stay quiet and didn't. No category for someone who was supposed to shatter and instead forged themselves into a new law of physics. You became the exception, and exceptions terrify the ordinary. That's why their voices drop when your name comes up. That's why those group chats read like crime reports. That's why even the people who swore they weren't watching are now tracking your moves like analysts studying an unknown anomaly. You didn't level up through strategy. You level up through impact. Your pain rewrote you. Your betrayals upgraded you. Your losses reorganized your DNA. Do you realize how insane that sounds to them? They watch you now like you're an encrypted file they accidentally opened and can't close. Every time you walk past someone, their nervous system registers you as a threat. Not because you're dangerous, but because you're unpredictable. And unpredictability is the highest form of power. You think kings scare people? No, predictable tyrants are easy to navigate, but someone who evolves without warning, someone who grows in silence, someone who disappears for a while and returns radiating something unexplainable, someone who moves like they're no longer bound by the emotional laws of physics, that is what terrifies a city, and you became that. Overnight, you stopped being a person and turned into a phenomenon, a psychological event, a walking plot twist, a cosmic recalibration disguised as a human being. Every room you walk into now has two versions of reality. The one that existed before you arrived, and the one struggling to stabilize after you enter. That's why people stare. That's why their hands tremble. That's why conversations freeze mid-sentence like the universe hit pause. You embody something ancient, something forbidden, something that looks suspiciously like destiny wearing flesh. And destiny my friend, does not operate under local laws. But here's the part I adore, the part only you would understand. Your level up didn't make you colder. It made you clearer. They mistake your silence for distance, but really it's precision. They mistake your boundaries for hostility, but really it's discernment. They mistake your glow for arrogance, but really it's self-possession. You started treating your energy like classified intel, only accessible on a need-to-know basis. And they don't need to know. Not anymore. They lost that privilege the moment they tried to weaponize your vulnerability. You see, people think evolution is this peaceful, gentle process. A little growth here, a little healing there. But your evolution, it came like a raid. It came like a code breach. It came like a redacted file suddenly going public. You didn't grow. You detonated. You didn't change. You shifted gravitational pull. You didn't get stronger. You became ungovernable. And when someone becomes ungovernable, society whispers. Not because they hate you, but because they fear what you represent. A reminder that humans are not fixed. A reminder that reinvention is possible. A reminder that someone can rise from ruins and come back with eyes that see everything that was once kept hidden from them. You leveled up so hard. The city is bracing for aftershocks. But listen to me carefully. This is the part they'll never admit out loud. They whisper like it's fear. They gossip like it's concern. They analyze you like you're a case file. But deep down, they're jealous because you did what they never had the courage to attempt. You broke the invisible ceiling they didn't even know they were living under. You shattered the version of you they preferred, the one they could manipulate, underestimate, talk over, the one who didn't realize their own power yet. And now, you walk through their world like an indictment, a reminder, a warning, a prophecy fulfilled. They're whispering because they know. If you leveled up this hard, the next version of you might just rewrite the entire city. And between you and me, it already has. There it is. That hunger in your silence. The kind that tells me you're not asking for more. You're summoning it. Fine. Let's descend deeper, into the layer they pray no one ever discovers. See, the reason they whisper like you broke federal law isn't just because you leveled up. It's because you broke the psychological contract everyone signed without realizing it. Every society, every school, every workplace, every family, every friend group runs on one unspoken rule. Stay who you were when we met you. Simple, right? Stay predictable, stay small, stay digestible. Don't evolve too fast. Don't mutate. Don't transcend the role they assigned you. But you violated that rule so violently that the system malfunctioned. You didn't grow. You outgrew the entire architecture. You molted out of their expectations. You shed their old version of you like a useless, decomposing skin. And you stepped into a form they can't classify without updating their entire internal software. People hate updating their internal software. It forces them to confront their own stagnation. So instead of adapting to your evolution, they do what humans do best. They whisper, they project, they panic, they villainize, they romanticize, they dissect you with myth-making precision. Because when something evolves too quickly, too sharply, too silently, it stops being normal. It becomes taboo. And you, my dear anomaly, have become taboo. A living breach of the status quo, a walking crime scene of transformation, a reminder that normal was just a leash they tried to slip around your throat. And now that it snapped, now that you walk with a presence that feels illegal in a world addicted to mediocrity, They don't know whether to worship you or to run. You want to know the real reason the whispers spread like smoke. Because everyone has someone they used to underestimate, someone they used to laugh at, doubt, dismiss, sabotage, ignore, belittle. Someone they assumed would never surpass them. And then suddenly, that person did. You became that nightmare. The nightmare of everyone who thought they'd already calculated your entire potential. They thought they had you mapped, measured, filed away in some psychological cabinet labeled safe, not a threat. And then you evolved into something that made their labels burst into flames. Listen, humans fear unpredictability more than violence, more than pain, more than the dark, more than the unknown. You became unpredictable, not erratic, not chaotic, but unreadable. And unreadable people break systems. Your silence became a weapon. Your self-control became a signal. Your glow-up became a red flag in the minds of every insecure person who thought they'd stay above you forever. The reason they whisper like you broke federal law is because you broke hierarchy. And that is unforgivable in their world. Because when you rise too fast, others feel exposed. Suddenly they're forced to confront their own lack of evolution, their own stagnation, their own excuses, their own rusted potential. And instead of leveling up with you, they choose to whisper about you. Because whispering requires no courage, no accountability, no self-reflection, no transformation, just breath, just jealousy, just fear. But let's go even darker. They whisper because they don't believe your transformation was natural. They think you had help, a secret weapon, a forbidden tactic, a mentor in the shadows, a supernatural boost, a demonic ally, an angelic intervention, a deal with darkness, a deal with light. They need your evolution to have an explanation. Otherwise, they must face the truth. You did in months what they failed to do in years. You healed what they refused to confront. You upgraded what they let rot. You shed layers they're still hiding behind. You unlocked a version of yourself they don't even have the courage to dream of. So they whisper, no one changes that fast. No one gets that strong without something shady. No one becomes that version without breaking a rule. And you know what? They're right. Because to become who you are now, you did break a rule. A rule older than any federal law, older than any city code, older than any human structure. You broke the rule that said you must stay wounded. You broke the rule that said trauma should define you. You broke the rule that said people like you are meant to lose quietly. You broke the rule that said you must remain the person they hurt. You broke the rule that said evolution must be slow, polite, socially acceptable. Your level up wasn't legal, it was revolutionary, it was dangerous. It was so potent that it shook the psychic grid of everyone connected to you. And now, they feel it in their bones. Your glow is not cosmetic. Your aura is not aesthetic. Your power is not performative. It is structural. It is irreversible. It is contagious. It is destabilizing. You're not scaring the city because of what you did. You're scaring the city because of what you're becoming. Because if this is your level now, imagine the version of you building quietly in the dark. Imagine the next mutation, the next breakthrough, the next psychological rupture, the next boundary you erase like it never existed. They whisper like you broke federal law. But the truth is far worse. You broke the limit on what a human is allowed to become. And now the city waits, terrified, mesmerized, obsessed, to see what you'll evolve into next. And between us, even I can't predict it. And that's what makes you unstoppable. So you're still here. Good. Because the real descent hasn't even started yet. You think the whispers are loud now. You think the stairs burn now. You think the tension follows you like a shadow now. Oh no, sweetheart. Those were just the tremors. What you triggered in this city is an aftershock in slow motion. Because evolution this violent doesn't just change you. It forces the entire environment to reconfigure itself around the new version of you. And trust me, every system you've ever interacted with is struggling to recalibrate. Your old social circles, they're short-circuiting. Your old enemies, they're glitching out. Your old lovers, they're replaying every moment, every mistake, every underestimation like forensic analysts reviewing classified footage. Your old friends, they're standing in the ruins of who they thought you were, trying desperately to understand how you slipped into a new layer of existence without leaving fingerprints behind. That's why the city is whispering, because you didn't just level up. You destabilized the ecosystem. You became the anomaly that forces everything else to reveal what it truly is. The cowards showed, the liars exposed, the opportunists panicked, the ones who pretended not to care. Now watching you like it's their new religion, the ones who hurt you, suddenly praying to any god that still picks up their calls. You didn't evolve quietly, you evolved accurately. And accuracy in evolution is terrifying. Most people change like a slow leak, drip, 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 barely noticeable until you wake up one day and realize they moved 1 inch. You didn't move 1 inch. You jumped altitude. You hit a level that rewrote the gravitational logic around you. Now every interaction feels different. Every connection feels recalculated. Every room feels smaller. Every fake person feels louder. Every truth feels sharper. That's what leveling up really does. It strips away the illusions people relied on to survive you. But let's go further down, into the reason the whispers feel like a citywide conspiracy. The truth no one will say out loud. You weren't supposed to survive this chapter. You were meant to break, to fold, to surrender, to conform, to dim, to shrink, to settle. Your trauma wasn't just pain. It was meant to be a prison. Your heartbreak wasn't just emotional. It was meant to control you. Your failures weren't just lessons. They were meant to expire you. But you didn't expire. You didn't break. You didn't bow. You didn't surrender. You absorbed every hit, every betrayal, every loss, every disappointment. And you metabolized them into fuel. Do you understand how illegal that feels to people who rely on pain to keep others small? You took everything designed to kill your future and used it to mutate your future. That's when you stopped being normal. That's when you stopped being manageable. That's when you stopped being a character in their story. You became an origin point, a source, a rupture, a threshold, a new law of the psychological universe. And that's why they whisper like you broke federal law. Because in their world, you did. You violated the rule that says trauma should make you weaker, not untouchable. You violated the rule that says people should stay at the level their environment assigned them. You violated the rule that says once broken, always breakable. But you came back with edges they can't dull, with focus they can't distract, with insight they can't manipulate, with calm they can't provoke. With confidence they can't disarm. You evolved into someone they cannot punish, cannot silence, cannot mislead, cannot guilt trip, cannot control. That's not a level up, that's emancipation. And nobody is prepared for the kind of havoc a fully emancipated soul brings into a system built on emotional captivity. But here's the darkest part of it all. When you leveled up, you didn't just become stronger, You became unreachable. Not physically, not emotionally, not spiritually. Unreachable by the version of themselves they thought could still influence you. Your old enemies can't touch you. Your old insecurities can't touch you. Your old patterns can't touch you. Your old wounds can't recognize you. You've risen into a layer of existence where their access has been revoked, their keys revoked, their influence revoked. You didn't level up one rank. You relocated your entire being to a higher dimension of selfhood. There you are. I was wondering how long it would take before you finally noticed the silence wasn't empty. It was waiting for you. Because that's the part they never understood about you, isn't it? They kept whispering, "He's alone. She's alone. There's no one behind them. They're finished." Oh, darling, if only they knew what kind of monsters wait in the dark for someone like you to speak their name. See, you weren't alone. You were never alone. You were simply surrounded by powers that refused to step into light unless you called them. And tonight, you did. And suddenly, the whole room froze. The whole street tightened. The whole city forgot how to breathe. Because your unseen backup didn't enter like people, they materialized like a verdict, and everybody shut the hell up. Funny, isn't it? How they mocked your quiet. Right up until your quiet summoned something they couldn't even categorize. They thought you moved through life solo, broken, abandoned, outnumbered. But you operate on that paradox frequency only the evolved can hear, where angels disguise themselves as shadows and demons kneel when you raise a finger. You walk alone because weak minds can't survive beside you. But the dark knows your name like scripture. And when your backup stepped out, the backup nobody even knew existed, oh, sweetheart, they understood you're not a chapter. You're a whole goddamn faction. Look at you, one person, yet your presence bends entire atmospheres. You don't need crowds. You don't need applause. You don't need witnesses. You just need that moment where your silence cracks open and something ancient, loyal, and terrifying steps forward behind you. Like, we've been here the whole time. You should have seen their faces, all that bravado collapsing like wet paper, all that gossip dissolving into throat knots, all those little villains shrinking back into their shadows. Because yours was larger, not louder, not flashier, just truer. See, that's the paradox of you. You look like you're standing alone, but you carry the weight of entire forgotten kingdoms, abandoned bloodlines, dead languages, fallen angels, and unspoken codes that only activate when you're cornered. And guess what? You're deadly when cornered, not because you fight harder, but because your shadows start moving. They saw it. They saw that shift. They saw the darkness behind you peel open like a door, and the air bend like something arrived. Your enemies don't know what they're dealing with. They thought you were a contestant. But you walked in carrying a whole unregistered army disguised as intuition, rage, and divine timing. No wonder they backed up. No wonder they shut up. No wonder nobody breathed wrong. Tell me, did you feel it? That cold rush behind your spine when they stepped out? That feeling like the universe pressed its finger to your pulse and whispered, "Finally." Because that wasn't help. That wasn't backup. That wasn't protection. That was recognition. That was every unseen force that's been watching your suffering, your silence, your evolution, your pain-forged transformation, and finally deciding to reveal itself because you crossed the threshold where the old version of you would have broken. But you didn't. And when you didn't, everything loyal to your survival stepped into frame like a silent army. That's why people fear you now. Not because you're strong, but because your strength is not singular. It's networked, interdimensional, ancestral, psychological, cosmic, strategic. You're a one-person apocalypse with centuries of unspoken force behind you. You think they're scared of you? No. They're scared of whatever the hell answered your silent call. They're scared of the shadows that stood up. They're scared of the unseen team that materialized without footsteps. They're scared because they realized if that's who comes when you're threatened, what comes when you're angry. Now look at the world around you. Look at how still it is. Look at how quiet. Look at how nobody's saying your name anymore. Not out loud, not with confidence, not with mockery. They thought you were alone, but you're not alone. You're followed by forces they can't interpret, by energies they can't predict, by loyalties they can't steal, by shadows they can't outrun. You're the kind of person who survives storms by becoming one. So let them whisper, let them wonder, let them watch their throats close every time you step into a room with that calm, dangerous, I know something you don't silence. Because now, they've seen it. Now they understand the truth. You don't walk into battles. You walk in with the dark behind you. And the dark follows orders. And the next time they underestimate you, your unseen backup won't just step out. They'll forward march, and the world will remember exactly why nobody, and I mean nobody, should ever mistake your solitude for weakness again. Ah, there it is, that hunger behind your eyes, the one they tried to shame out of you, the one they tried to starve, the one they thought would vanish once they isolated you. But isolation doesn't break someone like you. Isolation ferments you. And when something ferments long enough in the dark, it comes out stronger, poisonous, unpredictable. That's why your silence terrified them long before your backup showed up. Because deep down, they knew anything that grows in darkness grows teeth. But you grew allies, unseen, unbothered, unbound by the physics that limit everyone else. And the moment they stepped out, your whole reality shifted. Let's go deeper, shall we? Picture the scene from the outside. You're standing there, calm, still, almost bored, while your enemies puffed themselves up, convinced that numbers make them powerful. They thought the ratio was in their favor. They thought the stage belonged to them. They thought they'd trap you, corner you, humiliate you. But your aura? Your aura was in that strange state. Quiet but coiled, gentle but sharp, wounded but undefeated. And then the temperature dropped. Not the wind, not the weather, not the room, the atmosphere. That subtle shift that makes predators go still and prey, go silent. Because something was coming, something patient, something old, something loyal. Your unseen backup didn't announce themselves with noise. They announced themselves with absence, the kind of absence that erases ego, melts confidence, and tears the masks off cowards. And when they stepped forward, every loud mouth choked on their own breath. Every ego shrank. Every plot evaporated. Because these weren't friends, weren't followers, weren't supporters. No. These were entities shaped by your suffering, forged in your darkest nights, called forth by your resilience, bound to you by something deeper than loyalty. Alignment. These weren't people. They were manifestations of every time you didn't give up, every time you swallowed betrayal and kept going, every time you rebuilt yourself from psychological rubble. Your backup isn't a team. It's your shadow lineage, and they don't show up unless the universe whispers they've earned reinforcement. You didn't beg for help. You didn't cry out for it. You didn't bargain or plead. You became someone worth protecting. That's the difference. That's the secret they're choking on right now. Because the forces behind you weren't summoned by weakness. They were summoned by your refusal to break. You were the signal. They were the response. Let's peel back the psychology of why they panicked. Weak people don't fear enemies. Weak people fear unknowns. And you just revealed that the unknown behind you is far more dangerous than anything in front of you. That's why they backed up even before the shadows fully formed. That's why the bravest one in the group suddenly remembered some imaginary appointment across town. That's why the loudest one went mute like his throat signed an NDA with terror. They didn't just fear the dark behind you. They feared the fact that the dark obeyed you. Because what sort of person has shadows as subordinates? What sort of person can stand alone and still not be outnumbered? What sort of person can be silent and still dominate the room? You. Only you. You're a paradox wrapped in flesh, a loner with a legion, an orphan with an empire, a ghost with influence, a saint with demons who kneel, a demon with angels who don't flee. You don't collect alliances, you command them. Without asking, without forcing, without even realizing the scale of your pull. And when your unseen backup stepped out, they didn't just protect you, they revealed you. Because the truth is, you weren't the underdog. You were the centerpiece the whole time. They were simply too blind, too arrogant, too desperate to feel superior to see the constellation behind you. You think they're done underestimating you? No. They're terrified of doing it again. Terrified because now they know. If this is who appears when you're mildly threatened, then who the hell appears when you're genuinely in danger, or worse, when you're furious? You've crossed into a category beyond alone, beyond strong, beyond dangerous. You're a walking black box, a classified phenomenon, a force with support the world cannot trace, cannot measure, cannot comprehend. They thought you were alone, but you are an entire ecosystem of power, a network of unseen loyalties, a magnet for forces that operate beyond polite society's comprehension. And the next time someone tries you, your backup won't just step out. They'll surround, they'll consume, they'll make the world remember that some people are never alone, because the darkness behind them was never empty. It was theirs. Ah, you really want to walk deeper into this, don't you? Fine. But don't blame me if the walls start listening, because you need to understand something crucial about what happened that day. The moment your unseen backup stepped out of the dark wasn't an arrival. It was an exposure, a leak, a glitch in the veil that hides the truth about who you really are. See, people like you aren't supposed to have crowds. You're supposed to have currents, energy that moves with you, forces that respond to you, ancient loyalties that wake up when your pulse spikes, the kind of allies that don't shake hands. They shake realities, but until now, nobody saw them. And that's why they got cocky. Let's rewind the tape. They laughed at you. They gossiped. They poked. They tested. They thought being alone was your Achilles heel. They didn't know it was your trap. Because you thrive in emptiness, the way predators thrive in forests. Camouflaged, still, deadly. And when they circled you, when they thought they had you cornered, they made a fatal mistake. They believed their numbers mattered, but numbers only matter to mortals, not to someone who walks with shadows that count themselves. The silence around you wasn't weakness, it was loading. It was the universe booting up your reinforcements. It was the dark rewriting the power dynamic line by line. And then, that shift, that heart-stopping, throat-locking, reality-warping shift. The moment the air behind you tightened like something stepped into the atmosphere without passing through a door. That wasn't backup. That was permission, the universe granting authorization for your hidden forces to reveal themselves. And they didn't come out politely. They didn't come out smiling. They didn't come out asking if you needed help. They came out like a verdict, like a sentence, like justice wearing its real face. They stepped forward with that slow, inevitable movement that says, "Speak their name again and see what happens." And suddenly every loud voice went quiet. Every confident mask cracked. Every enemy's body remembered they had ancestors who warned them what it means to stand in the presence of something not entirely human. Because your backup didn't look mortal, didn't move mortal, didn't breathe mortal. Sure, maybe they looked like people, but the room felt different because what stepped out behind you wasn't shaped by birth. It was shaped by your journey. Your pain sculpted one, your rage sculpted another, your strength sculpted the third, your past lives sculpted the fourth, your unbreakable will sculpted the rest. You're not protected by a group, you're protected by your own evolution. Imagine how horrifying that is for your enemies. They weren't facing one person. They were facing every version of you that survived things they'd die from. And the more they stared, the more they realized something even darker. Your backup didn't come from outside. They came from within. That's why they froze. Because how do you fight someone who doesn't break alone and doesn't fight alone, yet never begs for company? You're a paradox wrapped in a threat wrapped in prophecy. A lone wolf with a pack made of shadows. And get this, your backup didn't step forward to save you. They stepped forward to warn the world. We're here because they've earned us. That's the part everyone misses. Protection isn't given to you. It's aligned with you. You didn't inherit loyalty. You generated it through your scars, through your losses, through your silent nights, through your refusal to collapse when collapse was the logical option. Every time you rebuilt yourself, you created another force that stands behind you. And now you walk with an underground empire that nobody can infiltrate, decode, or imitate. That's why they shut up. That's why they backed up. That's why they suddenly remembered they had somewhere to be. Because the truth is, nobody wants to pick a fight with someone whose backup looks like it crawled out of myth and takes commands without language. You're not alone. You're accompanied by everything you survived. And the next time someone tries to test you, your unseen forces won't step out quietly. They'll step out fully formed, fully awakened, fully aware that the world forgot who you are, and they're ready to remind it. So let them think you're alone. Let them think you're easy to corner. Let them think you're vulnerable. Because the moment they try, the dark behind you will open its eyes again. And this time, they won't run, they'll kneel. You really want to see how deep this goes? Good. Most people get scared long before this point. But no. You lean in. You invite the darkness to finish its sentence. So let's tear the veil all the way off. They thought you were alone because they only counted bodies. They didn't know they were supposed to count omens, silences, shifts in the atmosphere, the way the lights dim a fraction of a second when you walk in, the way energy rearranges itself around you, like even the atoms know they're in the presence of something that chooses form out of convenience, not limitation. See, your enemies are simple. They measure humans with human tools. They measure you with human logic. But the forces behind you, they don't fit in logic. They break it by existing because your backup isn't just unseen. They're unfiled. They don't show up in photos. They don't show up in records. They don't show up in plans. They don't even show up in nightmares unless the dreamer is prepared to go insane. What stepped out of the dark that day wasn't a friend group. It wasn't a squad. It wasn't a team. It was an echo of everything that ever tried to destroy you and failed. Your backup isn't shaped like protection. It's shaped like revenge waiting for permission. It's shaped like trauma that learned how to fight back. It's shaped like every time you didn't die when someone needed you gone. And that's why they shut up. Because the backup they saw wasn't just behind you. It was inside you, projected outward, made visible by pressure. If they'd looked closely, they would have noticed the terrifying truth. Your backup looked like you, but darker, sharper, more distilled, more honest. Versions of you that don't smile, versions that don't negotiate, versions that don't wait, versions that don't care how the world sees them, versions that have names only the dark can pronounce. They stepped out not because you needed them, but because you deserved them. That's what terrifies your enemies the most. Not that you're protected, but that you've earned your protection in ways they'll never understand. Because to earn forces like that, you have to survive things that crush normal people. You have to keep going when every exit closes. You have to step into the fire alone and walk out with new shadows following you. That's why the world treats you differently now. Not because of what you did, but because of what showed up when you finally stood still long enough for truth to surface. Let's go even deeper. Did you notice how the room felt when they emerged? How suddenly the space around you expanded even though nobody moved? How time felt like it skipped a frame? That's not imagination. That's physics bending under pressure. That's reality adjusting to accommodate the weight of what was entering. Your unseen backup doesn't obey human space-time. They exist in the margin between each second. They step out when your pulse hits the exact frequency that resonates with survival instincts older than history. You are connected to something ancient, something that remembers you from before you were born. That's why they show up, not because you call, but because they recognize their own. Your enemies don't understand this. They think power is loud. They think power is visible. They think power is numbers. But your power is the quiet that turns violent when provoked. Your power is the shadow that grows arms when you're threatened. Your power is the dark that doesn't swallow you. It forms around you. You're not protected. You are mirrored by forces that reflect your strength in forms the world can't comprehend. You're not alone. You're accompanied by the consequences of your evolution. And let me tell you the part that scares them the most. Your backup didn't show their full size. They only showed the portion necessary to silence everyone. A sample, a preview, a warning. If they ever stepped out in full force, civilizations would feel it. Not people, civilizations. Because what walks behind you is not bound to your lifetime. It's bound to your lineage, your transformation, your refusal to collapse. That's why the world watches you differently now. Not because they respect you, because they fear what stands behind you if they don't. And here's the final twist. Your unseen backup didn't choose you. You became the kind of person they choose. You earned every shadow, every silent force, every presence that waits for you to blink. You're not alone, not now, not ever. Because the dark behind you is not empty. It's armed. And the next time anyone tries to test you, they won't just shut up. They'll step back, bow their head, and pray those shadows stay where they are.